Is it normal to struggle with pleasure? I would say yes and no, actually. I could answer it in both directions, and I will. And then I also want to talk about common barriers to sensual healing and accessing sensuality. So I believe human beings are born innately connected to pleasure. And if you look at newborn babies and young children, they are literally licking the raindrops off the side of a car. They want to go and taste the world. They want to touch the world. They want to smell the world. They are intuitively, that wild impulse is calling them to really be in direct contact with the world. They'll run up and down staircases. They'll play in the snow. They don't seem to have this concept of preferencing that, oh, the snow is cold and oh, the raindrops are dirty or there's none of that. They are naturally feeling a curiosity and a sense of pleasure with anything and everything. Honestly, they will play with their own wee and poo because they don't have a concept of rules, judgments, or preferences. So this brings us into the struggle with pleasure. We're kind of trained throughout our lives into adulthood away from this natural curiosity and engagement with the world. We're told we're dirty if we touch our poo. We're told we're not allowed to lick the neighbor's car. We're told not to play in the puddles. And so we have these layers and layers and layers of contracting and pulling back and feeling ashamed about this almost erotic impulse to literally taste the world and to take it into our body and to experience it fully. So there's a lot of shame around all types of pleasure. And if you think about just even food, enjoying food has become this conversation about weight loss and diets and fads when food is an ultimate pleasure. So we need to pause, slow down, and take stock and just have some really frank conversations with ourselves about what pleasure means to us and what are some of the stories we've absorbed from culture and society and family and intergenerational um, hangovers. What does pleasure mean to us? It's it's also quite vulnerable to really access our pleasure and to allow ourselves to be seen in the deliciousness and the juiciness of feeling touched by the world. So there is an aspect of vulnerability with pleasure, which is very interesting because you would think we would just go for pleasure and chase pleasure. But if you pause and really look at what most of the world are doing, we're buying fancy houses or fast cars or beautiful jewelry or all of this food in the world, but we're not really sensually feeling it. It's like we get the object, we take it, but we don't actually allow the nourishment of the experience in. It's the same concept with having unsatisfying sex, that something's happening and being done, but it's not actually being felt and received and absorbed and marinated in. There's an internal nourishment of being connected to sensation and owning the experience. Most people have been disconnected from their sensuality, therefore, deeply confused about pleasure and finding it difficult to access pleasure. So, what that can look like then is we need to have more salt, more sugar, more drugs. We get on the addiction bandwagon because we can't really connect to feeling because we're disconnected to our sensuality and the vulnerable, raw nature of pleasure. And so we want to eat more, we want to drink more, we want more flavors. You know, we're not able to contact the subtle. So there are a lot of barriers. And with all of this shutting down away from sensing and feeling in the body, we can end up with huge amounts of tension and rigidity locked into the body, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. So part of healing and coming back into our wholeness is lots and lots of body scanning, noticing your sensations head to toe, and learning how to direct loving attention inwards so you can stay with the body more often to re-engage more of that internal nourishment of feeling what you feel and fully owning it, stepping into it. So the really common barriers, I think, are the stories we tell ourselves about what pleasure is. There's a huge amount of shame that we're afraid to really feel what we feel and be seen in that. And that can lead to a lot of hiding, even with loved ones and sexuality and lovemaking, that people are not sure what they want or how to voice it or how to receive it. And so everything just becomes a performance and foggy, and there are layers of masking and pretending and pushing through. Or maybe we tell ourselves that we're not worthy. There's so many layers that are common, shared ground, but we can move through and into and explore how can I access more pleasure daily? How can I just allow my fingertips to touch what I touch? How can I let the wind wash over me? Can I take my shoes off and walk barefooted on the earth? Can I simply slow down and enjoy drinking a glass of water? The really simple stuff. Can I gaze at the stars? Can I appreciate the moon? Can I check out the cloud shapes? Do I have local trees in my environment that I can sit with and allow the oxygen from that tree to consciously, intentionally penetrate my body? And as I exhale, can I let that carbon dioxide go back as a gift to the tree? So we're allowing ourselves to enter something greater than us, something perhaps sacred, divine, spiritual, allowing the pleasure and the subtle waves of pleasure to grow. My opinion is that the modern day approach to sexuality and pleasure is really off. It's not an activity, it's not transactional. You're not trying to get something, or it's not a service. It's literally a celebration of life, and sexuality is everywhere. If you just go back to that description of breathing in the oxygen from a tree and giving back the carbon dioxide, that is a penetration. There is love making in the subtle levels everywhere, every breath, every moment. I think it's important that we expand our concept away from the conventions of sex and what we're told it is, and to shift pleasure, sensuality, and sexuality into a very personal exploration of how you are in relationship to the world around you and how you let the world around you massage you, enter you, and really deeply feel it. Feel the presence of others. Feel their words enter your body. Feel your hands in the warm water as you're washing the dishes. To really re-engage pleasure and sensuality every single moment is life-changing, and it's possible. We can all access it. Even if we have we're riddled with complex trauma. Body scanning and accessing sensuality and pleasure is the gentle pathway toward healing, wholeness, and recovery. So to learn more, visit seekingbalance.com.au, and I would love to see you in my community for more of these juicy conversations. My prayer for the world is that everybody digests their fear and comes back to sensuality and connection, because I think it will literally change the world. The more we can be in our bodies, the more we can think clearly, locate ourselves, and access pleasure and sensuality from within, life-changing. So I think we need grassroots to help reshape the world together. Bye for now.